Hello, my name is Johnny Thornton, and in this documentary, I will try to illustrate the muckraker role in the progressive movement. Who were the muckrakers? I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to pass up a good piece of investigative journalism. This is especially true if a villain goes down or if an underdog triumphs. Sensational news stories aimed at uncovering the truth or exposing corruption grab the public's attention and often bring about change for the better. In keeping with the mood of the progressive era from around 1900 to 1917, the pen was used to combat social ills and evils and made calls for reform. Sensational jaw-dropping articles were written by journalists who set out to investigate and reveal wrongdoing and to prompt American society to fix social, economic, and political problems. Popular magazines such as Muckrakers and Cosmopolitan competed for readers and fueled the push for the provocative material. The bottom line for publishers was, the more shocking, the better. Theodore Teddy Roosevelt, President of the United States from 1901 to 1908, nicknamed these investigative journalists muckrakers. He borrowed the term from John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress, in which a rake was used to dig up filth and muck. The term caught on, and many journalists were proud to be considered muckrakers. Muckrakers presented problems to the American public in such a way as to invoke moral outrage and prompt citizens to take action. Muckrakers often wrote about wretchedness of urban life and poverty, and against the established institutes of society, such as big business. They targeted many turn-of-the-century injustices brought on by the large increase in immigrants, the rapid growth of the cities, unregulated big business, and the influence of political machines, as well as many other social problems. Journalists described immigrant ghettos and the poor living conditions of tenement housing. They revealed the high number of industrial accidents and advocated for tougher health and safety standards. Muckrakers condemned exploitation of children labor and white slave traffic in women. Corruption in business, including unfair trusts, insurance fraud, and danger of patent medicines were exposed. Muckrakers also criticized abuses of power in politics and government. In many cases, muckraking articles took on a very serious nature. Magazine editors often go to great lengths to check the facts as they were reported in their publications. Some muckrakers even lived in the slums they wrote about or worked in the factories they investigated. The factual nature of the muckrakers' articles lent credibility to the message the authors were sending to American readers. Let's now look at a few of the most influential muckrakers of the progressive era that you should remember. In 1902, urban political machines came under fire by muckrakers. Lincoln Steffens launched attacks against corrupt government connections with big businesses in The Shame of the Cities, a series of articles in McClure's magazine. Steffens urged the American people to save their cities from corrupt politicians and for the people to take back government for themselves. His work appeared as a book, Shame of the Cities, published in 1904. The book influenced a public outcry that would force the creation of public city managers and city commissions. Steffens' work also helped usher in the muckraking era. Also appearing in McClure's, Ida Tarbell wrote an extensive factual expose against John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Trust in 1904. Her work against the mother of all trusts was turned into a 2-volume book, The History of the Standard Oil Company, published in 1904. The book had a strong impact on the push to put the company under trial for violating a Sherman Antitrust Act in 1911 and subsequent breakup of the company into a series of small companies. She was the most influential female muckraker and was widely respected within the publishing world. Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle, published in 1906, to expose the problems of workers in the big canning factories in Chicago. What the public remembered the most about his book, however, were the deplorable, unsanitary conditions in the meatpacking industry. According to Sinclair, a man could run his hand over these piles of meat and sweep off handfuls of dried dung of rats. These rats were nuisances, and the packers would put poisoned bread out for them. They would die, and then the rats, bread, and meat would go into the hopper together. As Sinclair later himself said, I aimed for the nation's heart, and I hit their stomach. This caused a public uproar that contributed in part to the passage a few months later of the 1906 Pure Food and Drug Act and the Meat Inspection Act. There were many other works by many other great muckrakers which brought to light a variety of issues in America which were addressed during the Progressive era. Until the start of World War I, and then the need for reform did not seem as necessary for Americans, and therefore, muckrakers became irrelevant and unnecessary. Until next time, thanks for watching. Until next time, Johnny Thornton signing out. Thanks for watching.